tell us about this vehicle.
Hello, this is Red One. This is a 1989 Oshkosh. It's actually been remanufactured. A T-2500, it carries 2,500 gallons of water, 400 gallons of AFFF foam, and 500 pounds of Purple K. We use all of those agents to help us extinguishing aircraft fires. The front and bumper tour will discharge 300 gallons per minute, and the top in low flow will discharge 700 and 1250 at max. So essentially within minutes we can discharge all of the contents of here. But our purpose when we look at aircraft fires is 90 seconds. You have 90 seconds burn time from that fire on the ground getting into the fuselage where the occupants are. So we look to discharge and put out the fire as quickly as we can.
So the foam, everybody's seen that on TV where the foam's going up. But what's the purple?
So Purple K, we look at aircraft fires. We have water to suppress and cool. Foam actually suppresses vapors, but the Purple K actually inhibits a chemical reaction of fire. So when we're looking at 3D fires, it's tough to hit them and get all the way around, especially when you have a big flammable liquids fire. So that Purple K will actually inhibit that chemical reaction. So it's like a 1-2-3 punch when we attack them with all those agents.
I see. So the Purple K goes last and prevents it?
We'll actually introduct in. We're not going to fire it out today, but as we have one nozzle, it'll actually inject 3 agents at one time.
I see.
Water, foam, and then Purple K actually comes out the middle, and it makes like a slurry as it comes out to attack the fire.
Got it. So normally, I mean, when you're making a run, you're going to make a run with all your units from your station at once.
Yeah, so right now, what the complement is, since we're running the tower that you saw in there, the ladder truck, we have 4 firefighters on there, and we'll actually Red 1 and Red 2 will cross-snap those units, and 2 will go on each.
All right. Well, so this is the business end right here.
So this is actually when we're looking at ARF rigs in general, we're going to respond with 2 people in here. The majority of the operations can actually take place from inside the cab.
Oh, yeah.
Myself and the engineer will be inside there, and we really like to be mobile and keep mobile if we can. Really, this side we're going to use just basically if we get it filled with water, because that's this unit's primary job is to fill and suppress fire. So while we see the operation here, all these valves, it's basically just to fill. With numerous hoses here. This is actually the working sides of this truck here. We have the pump and all the inner workings, the PTO drive. So it's a huge engine, and when we fire it up, you'll hear it go. There's going to be a lot of exhaust, and it creates a ton of power to get that water moving.
When's the last time this vehicle's seen action?
I mean, we go to the airport probably once a week, twice a week. We always go to the airport for staging. I'd say actual putting fire out, it's probably been a couple months since that actually happened.
Centennial Airport, for those of you who don't know, is somewhat southwest of Denver, DIA Airport. And even though it is a private airport, it still has a lot of commerce.
You speak of that, and it's actually the 2nd or 3rd busiest general aviation airport in America.
Wow, really?
And it's so busy because it's a training airport. So with the touch and goes, you'll get a pilot that does 10 to 15 of those a day. So with every operation, you have the incidents of something could happen like that. So it's kind of interesting when you're driving, though, because you're sitting in the center, you're trying to...
Well, you're basically like a Formula One racer right now.
Yeah.
I mean, you are in the center. There's a multi-million-dollar sports car that does that as well, called the McLaren.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, I mean, so technically speaking, this is the same setup.
Probably the same amount of horse, but that thing weighs not 70,000 pounds.
Yes, a little less.
That's the Detroit diesel. It's a beast.
So, for those of you who don't know, this vehicle, once again, is from 1989, and it's an Oshkosh design and a Detroit diesel inside. And basically, this is powering 2 things. It's an engine that's giving it thrust, but it's also powering that pump.
This is the inside of the T-2500, so a lot of buttons. What we do, we run 2 people here. My engineer will drive. I will sit in the passenger seat and usually operate the joysticks for the turrets. We have the bumper turret here, which is below us. That's again 300 gallons per minute of water will flow, fog stream, and we can also use that purple K. This is going to be our top turret up here. We also have manual operation for that if needed. Low flow, that's going to flow 700 gallons per minute, and high flow 1250 gallons per minute. We also have inside here, we have a screen, and on top of the apparatus, it's actually a forward-looking infrared. So if we have concerns, if there's a lot of fog on the runway, we can actually see still heat signatures and see where people are at. And also it helps us identify if there's still fire in planes.
I would imagine even it's sensitive enough to detect body heat.
Yeah. One of the challenges with that is they've had other incidences is you got to watch out with the foam application though, because that's cool, so you can suppress people too.
I see. So take us through this again in terms of this nozzle and then the one up there, of course.
So when we're looking at aircraft firefighting, this is the bumper turret. One of the big concerns we have is actually flammable liquids and the fuel spill associated with it. So the bumper turret is really designed to capture those flammable fuels and suppress those vapors, so we actually have it closer to the ground. And it's not going to discharge that much CPM. It's 300 gallons per minute, but it is substantial. The difference is when we look at the roof turret here, again, that low flow is 700 gallons per minute and the high flow is 1250. So we're going to actually look at getting a lot of reach and a lot of penetration and really covering the fuselage and trying to disseminate that water over the fuselage to protect where the occupants are at. For example, this bumper reel, here's our hose reel, dry chemical, we got foam, we got water.
Is there ever a time where you will eliminate one just to use one particular thing, just water, just foam?
Yeah, I think it's kind of bringing the right equipment to the firefight. For example, if we only have a small fuel spill, water and foam is going to work great. But if we're really looking for that big punch, we really need to apply that purple K2 because we're looking at the most bang for the buck. Right. So when we're looking at like a big aircraft, C-130, something like that, we need as much firepower as we can to extinguish that fire.
So there's another screen that's right here. Is this GPS?
Yeah, so this is our MDT mobile data terminal. So what it'll capture calls for us, and it tells us what calls are happening. So right now it's tracking us here in our station, and when other calls populate, the dispatch center will pull those up on for us, and it'll direct us to the call. It shows how to get to the call to give us important notes. For us, it'd be airport related. Usually we're looking at getting the kind of aircraft coming in, where's it going to land, what's their problem, how many souls are on board.
We discussed price earlier, but they got to hear about this. So one of these babies, brand new, is around what?
A brand new truck, I guess I'll touch on this. A brand new one of these is going to be about $800 to $1 million. Wow. $800,000 to $1 million. We actually had a great investment in this. It was a 1989 refurbished, so even while it's had its licks and it's 1989, it was refurbished from the ground up, and we paid approximately $300,000.
Wow, it looks brand new.
Yeah, so it's a great investment, and some people say it's a 1989, but I think it performs very well for what its intentions are.
Is there an average amount of time that you're given between, a warning saying, hey, we got someone coming in hot, or something along those lines, 2-minute warning or something?
I think it all depends. We have a Air Alert 1, which is notification only. So that's a pilot says, maybe I'm going to have a problem. They're not sure. So they'll simply call the tower at Centennial, and they'll give us a call on the phone and say, hey, you may have a problem, just have a heads up. So an Air Alert 2 is, there's no defined time, if that's what you're asking for, but if there's an Air Alert 2, that says they have a problem. So maybe they have a light that says they can't get one of their wheels down to land. So they'll give us an Air Alert 2, which is staging. So we'll stage our apparatus, which is going to be Red 1, Red 2, Red 3, Medic 44, and the battalion chief, and we'll stage just in case there is an incident.
Sure.
An Air Alert 3 is actually, there has been some kind of incident, aircraft has crashed, or there's been an incursion on the runway with the vehicle.